Hi everybody! Today is Sunday, October 12th, and it is 75 degrees outside, and I can't believe it. It is almost the middle of October, and I was wearing a skirt today. I can't believe that. But I wanted to make a video because I have a couple important things to say. And the first important thing is I want to say hi to Riley. I want to say thank you so much for watching my videos. Sweetheart, I hope you keep watching with your mom, and I'm so glad that you watch my videos. And also, I wanted to say something to Paul. And Paul, I don't really know what I can say other than I am terribly sorry. I don't have children, so I can't imagine what you're feeling and what you're going through. I want you to know that you're in my thoughts and prayers, and I wish you the very best. I just don't really know what to say. When I was 16, my 17-year-old cousin was killed in a car accident, and right after he died is when my first symptoms started. So the stress that I went through from his death was the beginning of my MS. So I can at least understand how stressful and how hurtful it is. And I just want you to know I'm thinking about you, and you're in my prayers every night, and I wish you and your family the very best with everything. I also wanted to talk about a speech that I gave in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was talking about Ty Sabri and talking about staying positive while you have MS, and there was a doctor there from Washington University in St. Louis, and that's where my brother Joel went to school, and that's where the vice presidential debates were just held. And he was very intelligent, he was very personable. It was very small and intimate. There were only like 10 people there, and it was really great because we all got our questions answered, and he said something that a light bulb went off in my head when he said this. He said, even though every MS patient is incredibly different, and every patient is on different medications, and you have different symptoms, and every day is different, he said the one thing that all MS patients struggle with is multitasking. And at first I was kind of like, yeah, I have trouble multitasking. I can only do one thing at a time usually. But then I really started thinking about it, and I was like, oh my God, that was my stress in college. And I wanted to talk about that because I think this could be helpful to people who are either in college, who are getting ready to go to college, or who are in high school preparing to start that new adventure. But I didn't tell every single person I knew that I had MS, because when I was introduced to people, I wasn't like, hi, I'm Lauren, I have MS. Nice to meet ya. Like, it's not something that I normally say right away. And a lot of people, they didn't know I had MS. They didn't believe me when I said I had MS because I stay really positive. I don't look like I have MS, which I thank God for that every day. I'm very fortunate. But there are times, like when I had a relapse last year, where it's definitely evident that I truly have MS. And if I stress myself out, I will get a relapse. So, I wanted to talk about multitasking. I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me, so maybe you can relate it to yourself. When I was at school, I had an internship at a local TV station right outside of East Lansing, where I received academic credit for it. And I loved it. It was fun, and I was doing what I loved, and I met some really great people. But I also participated in a student group at Michigan State University, and I didn't receive credit for this organization, but I did it because it was fun and I loved it. And then a priority for me was getting my homework done. You know, some people say, they might argue with me and say, college isn't about doing your homework. Although I happen to think, well, getting a degree is pretty important. So I made my classes and my homework a big priority. And then also, I loved going out with my roommates and my friends. Going to the bar and going to parties, that was a priority for me. And many others at Michigan State. Because I wanted to have fun, and I wanted to make the best of everything. And so that really was something that I wanted to do. But it got to the point where I was having horrible anxiety. And I would be in bed at night, and my whole body would be shaking. Like, my nerves were like out of control. And it wasn't tremors. Tremors are very different. This is something that was internal. And I could feel it. I would be laying down, and like just my whole body would be shaking, and then I would get freezing cold. I would be wearing 2 and 3 sweatshirts in bed, and I would have a robe and a blanket, and I still wasn't warm. So I knew that this was something that was not good. But I decided, I said, I'm doing too much. I think I'm on overload. And I decided that something had to go. And since my schoolwork was the most important thing, and my internship where I was receiving academic credit was incredibly important, and going out and having fun was a priority for me, I decided to drop participating in the organization, the student organization at Michigan State. And I think I disappointed a lot of people. They were upset with me for dropping out, but I was upset too, because I was saying, you know what, I can't let this bother me. My health is the most important thing, and if I have to drop it, I have to drop it, because I'm not going to let other people influence me to affecting my health. So I decided to do that, and it was hard, but it was essential. And I also want to talk about having roommates. I was lucky in college. I had really good roommates that were very understanding of me having MS. But even when your roommates are understanding that you have MS, they don't have it. So it's hard for them to truly know why the littlest thing will make me cry. And I've always been a sensitive and emotional person, but after my cousin Adam died, my emotions skyrocketed, and it is really annoying because I cry all the time, and I don't want to. I don't mean to, but that's part of MS, is being so overly emotional. And so that was definitely a challenge that I had. And the best advice I can give to other people with MS who are in college is to live with someone who you are very, very similar to. Because my freshman year, I lived with a girl who, she and I were like the same person. We had everything in common. Like, she had a boyfriend, I had a boyfriend. They were long distance relationships, but they were successful relationships, and they worked. And we just had so much in common, and everything was great. So that's my advice to you. Live with someone who you are similar to, because when I was with her, it was like MS wasn't even an issue, ever. Never once with her. She always understood, and if I said, Stephanie, I can't do this, she would say, okay. And that was it. So that's my advice to you. Now, I could go on for like 3 hours talking about this, but I have to stop. But I hope that this was helpful, and if you have any questions, please email me or write me a message, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you everybody for watching and keeping in touch, and I'll be doing another video soon. Have a great week. Bye!